The GallowgateShots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel and podcast. We are back with another match reaction, your second in the space of just a handful of days. But I am your host today, Kris, joined by Scott for this one. Scott, it was the time and the run of the FA Cup this time. It was their chance. Obviously, we did progress to the final of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night against Arsenal, but then it was another tough test just around the corner against top of League One side, Birmingham, who were on a fantastic run until Newcastle United came to town. I'm just going to dive straight in, and I'm going to give myself a bit of a pat on the back here, Scott. You'll probably know what's coming, but somehow, I pulled it out the bag and managed to get every single player correct in the starting 11 prediction video as well. It's kind of as if we had some sort of inside information, which we didn't. I'm putting it out there. We did not have that. I absolutely winged it completely. But jumping forward to when we saw that announcement, Scott, in the starting 11, it was a bit, I don't want to say all over the shop because it wasn't all over the shop, but Eddie Howe had to change certain things and try new things because obviously the lack of availability and options that we have on probably both flanks, I would say. So what were your thoughts on it straight away, mate?
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised because you got it right and we knew what to expect. No, it was, we were expecting changes. I don't know if 9 changes was how many I was expecting. I thought maybe the back line would have stayed the same, bar swapping, maybe Shaw for Botman or vice versa, or, 1 or 2 changes on the back line. I thought he would have maybe kept the midfield pretty similar, but, he had wholesale changes there. And I don't know if Gordon's injured or not. I don't know if he picked up a little knock because he wasn't in the squad at all. And I think that's the news that came out, that maybe he was not injured as such, but they're just resting him as a precaution. And I wasn't expecting Isak to start, but I certainly wasn't expecting Asula to start on the right the way he did. But it kind of worked. Not to jump ahead of ourselves, but it kind of worked. But yeah,
definitely worked. Yeah,
I think the goalkeeper situation, I don't think anyone was expecting Dubravka to start. I think everyone was, this was the game that if Pope was going to get minutes, Pope would get minutes in this game. So,
yeah.
Bar, I would say Target coming back in. Yeah, maybe it's Kraft getting a start. Longstaff and Miley starting were probably the 3-4 positions that maybe I wasn't expecting, but the rest, yeah, maybe it was how I would expect it to go. But I don't know. I think I've just probably totally contradicted myself from the start to the end of that sentence.
From start to finish, I think you did. So what I found out when I was doing the prediction on the video, so obviously you watching will only ever see the end product of that. But when I was recording it in the studio, I got halfway through the team lineup, and I immediately, well, first of all, I had put Willock, Longstaff, and Miley in that midfield 3. Then I got on the left-hand side and I went, hang on a second, we've literally got no option on the left-hand side. So I thought the only option that we've got right really is to put Willock on the left-hand side and bring one of the other 2 in, whether it's going to be Tonali or Bruno. And I expected it to be changes as well in the 45 minutes, which we alluded to in the WhatsApp group as well, that whoever started was only going to get 45 minutes, then Tonali or Bruno was going to swap over. I think we anticipated that. So yeah, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain there. Actually, in the original one, I had Willock in centre midfield until I got that left-hand side. I went, shit, we have no options.
No.
Hence why I swapped it up a little bit.
Maybe that's what happened to Eddie Howe as well. Maybe he had his own team out and he said, oh, man, I've got no one to play.
maybe. And it was very similar on the right-hand side, hence why Asula came on the right-hand side. But I think Eddie Howe's hinted at it previously in like sort of conferences that he can be quite versatile when it comes to that. But we'll talk more about Asula as well, because he had their number throughout that one. He absolutely went in there like a bull in a china shop. He really did. But we'll get on to him in just a little bit. Scott, we conceded in the first minute of the game, and you're thinking, oh shit, here we go.
I don't even think we lasted 30 seconds. I think it was that quick. But you know what? I think they executed a perfect game plan. You see 9 changes on a team sheet. You see players who I don't think half of them have had 90 minutes under their belt this season. And you would expect the team to come out and just try and hit you with not a sucker punch, because, you know, you're expecting a game, but hit you quick, hit you fast and try and get an early goal. Probably don't want it that early, but they played the perfect start of a game. You want to hit it there. Granted, it's a bit of a, you know, it's not the perfect goal, and the second goal maybe is more of a perfect goal, but you get a deflection, you get lucky off a corner, but any goal's a goal, and especially when you're in League One and you're playing a Premier League opposition, you take anything that comes your way. You know, they get a corner, it comes in, and you win the second ball, and they get a shot away, and it's just unfortunate. Callum Wilson's running. I don't know why he's running across the face of his own goal, but he is. And it deflects massively past Nick Pope, who I don't think he can do anything about it at that point.
Of course not.
Massive deflection. It goes just over his shoulder, and he just can't.
It is a scruffy one, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely a scruffy one, because the ball gets lifted over to the back post, and it's something which Birmingham have clearly worked on, because the player just knocks it straight back in. The player who hits the ball, it's Laird, I think. Laird that hits the ball.
Yeah, the number 2.
Got all the time in the world. There's nobody around him. Then he just hits at it. Then yes, it does take a deflection. It was going in anyway, I would say. But it does take a deflection. Callum Wilson swings at it, and it just ends up in the back of the net. And like you said, Nick Pope's just sees it late, and just it is what it is. But in true Newcastle United fashion, now I'm thinking, right, we've got to go down. It's fine. It's early on. We've still got 90 minutes plus to come and get something back from the game, which led to a hell of a lot more than 90 minutes plus.
We did get plus,
yeah. But let's just, obviously, Birmingham controlled a little bit of the play just after that, in a tiny little spell after that. But as the game went on, you could see Newcastle was slowly getting a hold of the game. We're just slowing it down a little bit. Although Bruno just controlled that tempo of the game very well throughout that one. So obviously a change even once again and completely got changed on its head when Tonali comes on in the second half for the different style of play, which we came out in the second half. But first off, I would say, apart from that 15 minutes spell at the start of the game, I think Newcastle grew into the game, which I was expecting us to do so. To be honest with you, when we went to goal down, I was half tempted just to go straight on Sky Bet and go, right, what are the odds for a Newcastle victory here? Because they would have been half decent, and you know that Newcastle can come from a goal behind. We've seen it before against teams as well. So I'm always optimistic when we concede early. But I think the major talking point, which I'm going to jump straight out, because I don't want to focus too much on this afternoon, because I appreciate it's Sunday and everybody likes to chill on a Sunday. But Newcastle United's equalizer, if that ball is over the line, then I have a full head of hair, because that's not over the line. I don't care who you are, what you are watching. The linesman has completely guessed at that. He's not even in line with the goal at this point. He's
barely past the 6-yard box when he puts his flag up. I don't know. I've seen it back. I watched it back just before we went on, and there's no one even claiming it. Willock's got his arms up. I think he's trying to claim for a corner, because his second shot after the rebound, I mean, it's 6 points to Wigan, that second shot, because he hits it so high, it's going over the stand. It's I don't know. I don't know what's going through his mind, that linesman, but he's got his flag up for a goal. it's one of those things where, in that round of the competition, there is goal line technology, but because they're a League One side, they don't have it implemented in the ground. So we can only go off the officials on the pitch. So if the officials are saying it's a goal, you can only go off what the officials are saying. We've got no
crazy
other.
though, Scott. It's absolutely
Oh, it
crazy
is.
because the
It is.
easiest thing to do would be not to award a goal. It's the home side that have conceded here, and the linesman just pulls it out the bag and goes, "It's in the back of the It's not over the line, and not even close, man. Not even close."
He's obviously thinking, I should be at the line. I'm not there. What do? I better give the goal. That's the only thing I can think that's going through his mind of I haven't got back quick enough here. I need to be. Just to go back, the build up to the goal is pretty decent. The ball from Dan Burn to Callum Wilson just nullifies the midfield completely. It's a class pass from Burn, and then Wilson does well to control it, turn. I think he then plays it out to, I think it's Matty Target, who crosses the ball over to Asula, who, we'll come on to Asula later on, I'm guessing, but does so well. And then Willock's got all but a tap in. I say tap in, he doesn't get it in, but he does his best. He's in his own net when he touches it, but it's not over the line.
Strange position from the goalkeeper to be that far behind his line, so he's only got himself to blame for even that question being asked over him. But just 5 minutes later, and the ball's in the back of the net again. It's a scruffy one, this one, really scruffy. Asula tries his hardest to stop that ball going in the back of the net. But I don't know, I think he kicks the ball off his own foot at some point, Joe Lenton-esque that we've seen at times.
Yeah. I've never seen someone kick it off their own back heel, but yes, it's very good to do.
We have. Joe Linton's done it. He's kicked it off his own face before.
Off his own head. Aye, true.
We've seen players do this, but it's Callum Wilson, right place at right time. This is what Callum Wilson does best. He's an absolute poacher when it comes to these sort of moments, and he lifts his legs higher than Dan Burns' height to get that one over the line. Asula's just nestled over where the goalkeeper previously was for the first goal, and he's just chilling in there. And that's, do you know what is scruffy, but would take the lead at that point, and you're thinking, right, we're just going to go on and comfortably win this one. That's what I thought.
There was a couple of Birmingham defenders claiming it was, dangerous play by Wilson, how his foot so high, but there was no one around him. It's granted, maybe, but the goalkeeper's hand maybe is closest to him. You're not going to get anything for that. But again, though, the build-up, Nick Pope's ball to Asula, the first touch is outstanding. And he starts and finishes that pretty much very well. But yeah, the shot he has is a funny one. For it to go directly up in the air, I don't know how he manages that, but he manages it.
Well, I think it's Willock that strikes the ball first, isn't it? Then Asula's running towards goal, and it hits him. Then he hits the ball off his other foot. Then that just lifts up. Then obviously it's Wilson there to finish it off.
It goes in. That's all that matters. Again, like I said earlier, he'll take it.
But just 15 minutes after that one, we see an almighty shot. One of the best hits of a ball I have ever seen, because he absolutely wellies that. Wellies it. And rightly it hits the back of the net. And you know what is at that point? That's as a fan, you just go right, fair play. Fair plays, you've done unbelievably well to hit that.
Yeah. We could have Martin Dubravka, Nick Pope, John Ruddy, and Gillespie all in that goal.
And Bestie.
And that's not getting saved. And Bestie. And you know what? It's one of those goals that you very rarely see in the Premier League, because Premier League players get told not to take those type of shots. They're told to, play the ball, build up and try and score goals a bit more technically advanced than that, where in lower leagues, they will welly the ball like that more often. And I think at half-time...
Fabian Shaw-esque that.
Fabian Shaw-esque, yeah. But at half-time, the pundit said that's not unusual for him to score those type of goals. He's done 5 of them already. Maybe he's not that sweet, but he can hit a long-range shot. So, I think had Leyton Orient not scored the goal they scored earlier on in the day against Man City, you were probably looking at goal of the round for that. But it's probably flip of the coin between that one and the Leyton Orient goal earlier on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a hell of a strike. And Nick Pope got his hand to it. I bet his hand's probably still stinging of getting his hand to it because it was hit with some force.
So we're going at half time 2-2, and you're thinking, you know what is, as a neutral, you're
going
probably
either
thinking
way.
this is one hell of a game. This is a typical FA Cup clash. This, back to latter years, these sort of cup ties that you see, and did you know what it is? We've crumbled before against Birmingham numerous times. I remember, I think it was a cup game with they beat like 5-0 or something ridiculous.
5-1, I think it was.
Which was horrible times that we've had. But we'll come out second half, and like I said earlier, that there's a change in midfield. Bruno goes off, and Tonali comes on, and Tonali just honestly, I know I say this every single week, but he's literally everywhere on that field, and you know what it is? He is an all-round midfielder. Yes, I know a lot of people will put numbers on it, 6 and 8, whatever the hell you want to call him, but he can do everything as a player. Like, I thought he was fantastic when he came on. The game changed again, where at that point it was just all Newcastle United, I would say, at that point. And I said in the WhatsApp group earlier on, as soon as we got our second goal, I said this game is going to change for the worse, and it's going to get very dirty from the Birmingham side, and we saw that straight away. Jesus Christ! And do you know what? I'm all about physicality in a football game. Newcastle United do this a lot, but if they get away with some of the challenges that they were doing, both with and without the ball, and moments when the player's not even here, I'll talk about Kraft later on in the game, because he gets wiped out by that absolute thug that comes on later on in the game. But if they get away with that every single week, no wonder they're top of the league, because they were absolutely clattering us at any possible chance that they got. The lad that was up for Stansfield, who's obviously got a big fee ahead of him as well. He was a bit like a BTEC James Vardy, where he was trying to wind players up, and he was getting on a couple of players' skin as well. But when Fabian comes on, Fabian lets him know, and he's not happy with him, Fabian. And I thought as the game went on, it got a bit desperate from Birmingham, and they were trying to basically bully us, and it never really happened. Yes, you can kick with, but you're not going to get very far by doing it. They picked up numerous yellow cards throughout that second half. To the point where the manager made 3 substitutions later on in the game, and every single one of them was on a caution. I said before, that fella came on the field, that was Dykes, the striker. And the commentator said at this point, he will not get you goals, but this is what he does. And that was when he went and just shoulder barged, if you can say that, Emil Kraft. Emil Kraft clears the ball on the right-hand side.
The ball away,
and it's about 2 seconds later, he just literally throws himself into him. Similar to what we saw with Van Dijk against Gordon the other week. Very similar to that. And I'm thinking, how has he got away with this? Like, if VR's there, VR's stepping out at that point, because it's absolute thuggish behaviour as well. We saw it later on in the game where I might be wrong, but I think it's Tonali that gets brought down, but he continues to play. The referee plays advantage, and then somebody gets wiped out on the left-hand side. I think it's Willock when they're right back.
He goes in the yardboard.
He just smashes. I don't think he's right. I think it was his centre back. He just smashes Willock into the Hordens, and the referee gives him the yellow card. Then doesn't come back and book the centre midfielder that tries to. I'm sure it was Tonali. I might be wrong. Somebody to correct us. And you're thinking, you are getting away with murder here, and you were just waiting, I wanted that game to end. I wanted Newcastle to get the winning goal, just so we could go, right, done. We do not need to play any more minutes of this football game, because it's getting a bit too much at this point.
Yeah, you were kind of almost, it's horrible to say, but you were kind of glad that there was the changes made that were made before the game, because it was almost like damage limitation in terms of the players on the pitch. Some of these players aren't going to be featuring in the games that are coming up. Or not a lot of them aren't. But you can't really go into games thinking that. But by that second half, I think you put on the Twitter account, it was like Cobra Kai by some of it. Some of the tactics they were using. I think at one point Asula had 5 of them hanging off him, and he was just running through them all. it was absolutely crazy the way.
Let's talk about Asula. We might as well, before we talk about the winning goal. Let's talk about Asula, because he had their number from the moment they kicked off. Because he was winding them up, but like unintentionally. I think it was just because he managed to get past them every single time with the ball, and whether that was trickery, if it was some sort of witchcraft, or God knows what it was, but every single time he was finding himself in decent positions and creating opportunities for the lads as well, and opportunities for himself at times. They couldn't handle him. And I think with Asula, he's a very raw talent. I think it's okay to say that he's very raw. I think a lot of this needs bottled up and it needs reined in a little bit, because I think Eddie Howe mentions it post match as well, that he needs to. He's rough around the edges. I think Eddie Howe said it, which is a great way to describe it, because you can see there's a player in there, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just, what sort of player is he? Is he going to be a winger? Is he old-fashioned sort of striker? What is he? But he did a very good job on that right-hand side.
He did, and it's surprising because obviously of how he signed, but then, you look at Joe Linton and you think, well, would he ever be a centre midfielder when we signed him? And the answer would be no, but look what happened. So the same thing could happen to Asula. He's signed as a striker, but he could obviously feature on the left, on the right, wherever it is, and we'll see what happens. I think what will potentially happen with Asula is, come pre-season, he's going to get, a bit of, maybe he's not one-on-one time, but he's going to get a lot of hands-on time with Eddie Howe and the team in terms of, right, let's rein in some of the rough edges, let's get hands-on with you and let's mold you into more of a player. And hopefully we'll see, kind of like what happened with Lewis Hall at the start of this season, let's see more of the player we want you to be and get you playing how we want you to play, where at the moment, I think, just because of the way the squad is and how we need to be, I'm not saying he's not getting that time now, but he's not getting as much time as he maybe needs. And obviously he's not going to play in the youth teams or anything like that, because we've needed him because Callum Wilson's been out. But maybe now Callum Wilson's back on the side and playing, he can maybe get a bit more time playing with, the under 21s, featuring in that squad a bit more. But to be honest, he's doing well. Like, I don't think he could ever be downgraded to that again.
No,
He's proved he's more than capable of playing forward. And I get it. It was a League One side, so I'm not going to count chickens before the hatch here. But he's been playing for Premier League side before he came to us. Granted, it was Sheffield United, and they were relegation fodder on that side. But he's got experience now. I mean, this is second season in the Premier League. He's going to start wanting to play more and more. And if he can't play striker because he's got Alexander Isak up against to fight, it's up to him and now to pick another position where he's going to start trying to get more minutes. And if it's on the right
side of the field, is going to be where the opportunities come from.
That's where the opportunity is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe he's thinking, okay, if I can do a job here, and we've just saw last night, he's got not just speed on his side, he's got a bit of technical ability, he's got a great first touch. He can, he's got a bit of trickery.
Strong as well, Scott.
He's very strong. Yeah, like I said before, it was like, do you know on what's the film called? The Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Kindergarten Cop, where he's running through the school with 5 kids hanging off him when the fire alarm goes off. It was like that at times. They just couldn't get past him, but they were trying to stop him. He doesn't look it though. He's quite a tall guy, quite weedy, but my God, what a performance. 2 assists as well. I mean, I know they weren't intentional. The second one certainly wasn't, but they all count. It's going to be my catch for this line, they all count.
He's very unlucky to pick up a yellow card as well, because there's a bit of
that was not a yellow card
later on, and he's just there in the moment, and he retaliates, but nothing in it, like nothing at all. And I think the referee, just because he's going to book a couple of players, he thinks, well, you're there as well. So you're going to pick up a yellow card as well. So very, very unlucky there. But moving on to the winner, Scott. Great for Joe Willock there. So that's his second goal of the game. He struggled at the very start of the game. First 10, 15 minutes, he struggled. He grew into it though, really did. Taking these opportunities, and he probably, without the goals, I would probably say he was man of the match anyway. He was always looking at getting the ball up the field, driving forward. He rounded it all up with his second goal in the brace for the day.
Yeah, it was good. Again, he started the play on the I think he was on the left. and he kind of drifted over as the ball progressed over to the right. He kind of followed the ball and the play along. And I think it's Longstaff who's got the ball in the box after Murphy. Murphy picks it up, and
nicks it, doesn't
Longstaff's
he?
got the ball in the box, and he just cuts it back. And he's just, in fact, Willock makes one of them Longstaff runs where he kind of just finds himself running in late to a dead ball, or well, not a dead ball, but a ball that's been played in, and he just finds himself with loads of space and a ball to hit, and he just nestles it in the bottom with a goal. And yeah, it's, came at the right time for the game, because they were starting not to get into it, but they had a couple of chances. There was Nick Pope made a great save with his legs not so long before that.
Straight after
even in the first half,
Nick Pope,
he made a great save to his right, straight in the first half as well. But yeah, go back to Willock's second goal. He started to get a bit of confidence. He was starting to get, the game on a whole, he grew into massively. Like I said, that first 15 minutes, he didn't look great. He didn't look interested, if I'm being honest with you. He was making runs, and it looked like he was just making runs to make runs, as if to make it look like he was trying. I know that's probably a bit harsh, but that's what it came across to me watching it on the TV. But then I think the whole team kind of started to gel a bit more, and then it started to click for Willock. And like I say, the rest of the game, I had no issues at all with him, because he was arguably one of the better game players on the field. And granted, he got the man of the match, and he fully deserved it. So, and I think for Willock, he needed that performance. He needed to get those goals.
Yeah.
Hopefully it can be the catalyst for, the next few games, because we're going to need him. I think if Gordon, I don't know how bad it is, but if he is carrying a bit of a knock and he does need a bit of a rest, we've got 3 pretty big games coming up before, the big game. I'm sure we're not going to talk about yet, but, the big game that's coming up. We've got 3 massive games in the league that we need to concentrate on, and we could need Willock for all of them.
I'm not sure if there's any update on Dan Burn yet, because Dan Burn does go off with an injury.
Does,
but he looked okay later on
when he's walking off, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, when he comes on later on, because he's still there and around the lads as well at full time. Like, he looks all right at that point, but you can't really tell. So fingers crossed there's nothing serious with that one as well, because we don't need an injury at centre back. No. Definitely, we don't need an injury anyway, mind. But definitely not there at centre back. I want to mention the fact that there was 12 minutes added on at the end of the game as well, because there's a nasty injury for Leonard. It is a nasty injury. It's just a clash between him and Miley. There's nothing in it. He goes down early for the sliding tackle, and Miley stays on his feet. That's all that is. Both players have got every single right to go for the ball. I think on commentary they said there was quite a gash underneath his knee. So it didn't look too clear. Obviously, the stretcher comes on, he's on oxygen as well. So fingers crossed he doesn't have a big injury either. But I'm not sure if there's been any update on him either. So we do wish him well as well. It's just one of those challenges. Unfortunately, he comes off the wrong side of it with the clash. But we did well, Scott. I was quite worried at this one, because Birmingham, yes, we keep on seeing the League One side, but the League One side in form. And the old Newcastle United could go to the likes of these sort of grounds and these sort of lower league teams and get what else is handed to it. We'll just turn up and think that we're going to win the game, especially with 9 changes as well. I think we'll have to give the credit. Like, that's mass changes. Very brave of Eddie Howe to make that many changes. I think he's probably had to do it, because not just the physicality that went into the game on Wednesday night against Arsenal, emotionally as well, the lads would have been up a height afterwards. So it's very hard for Eddie Howe probably to bring the lads back down to earth just in a few days. Then obviously, we're going again, albeit in a different venue in a League One clash, against a League One. Sorry, a League One tie. Can't get words out. A clash against the League One side. So it's hard. It really is hard, especially for the lads coming in from the cold as well. Likes of Emil Kraft, you can throw in Matt Target. You never see Matt Target these days. No. Lewis Miley, yes, he's had a few chances coming off the bench in Premier League games, but not starting games. Same with Longstaff. Longstaff's not featured for a little while as well. So you can look all over the field and look at certain individuals and go, right, fair play, you've done a job. And I think hats off to Asula, because he's the one that stole the show, really. He really is. And obviously he's we've now found out that there is an option there potentially on the right-hand side of the field as well. Not that we need it just now because Jacob Murphy's is in fine form, but in the latter stages of games, then it could be an option going forward. It was great to see Callum Wilson again. Callum Wilson making his first start for God knows how long, since 2006 or something. He's been gone for that long. But great to see Wilson back, obviously on the score sheet as well. Just gives him another option for the rest of the season.
Yep,
if he can.
does. It does. I mean, it's nice to see him back. It's nice to see him on the score sheet, like you said. It's nice to see him come off with not, without an injury. It's good to see him just complete a not the full game, but complete a game unscathed.
Big chunk of it, a very big chunk of it.
Yeah, and it's in terms of Birmingham, I think they are, while of course they are a League One opposition, they're League One opposition in just their position in the Football League. And that's it. They've had a lot of investment over the summer with the new owners, and I think even it's called Tom Brady, is it? The American football has invested in them quite heavily. They've had a lot of.
Is he called investment. Tom Brady? One of the most famous athletes ever. Is he called Tom Brady?
I don't know. I don't follow American football.
Yes, he's called for Tom that. Brady.
Okay. Well, but what I'm saying is they've had a lot of investment. I think really they are a mid to upper league championship side on paper, if you look at the players. Yeah. So, while yes, they are a League One side, that's a misjustice to call them a League One side, really, when you talk about the players. They perform like a championship side, and that's really what they are. So, they were a good side. They were a hard side. It was a horrible atmosphere, to be honest. Like, that was like Arsenal coming to us in terms of atmospheres. It was a bit of a bear pit.
It was.
Some of the stuff they were doing in the crowd was a bit. I don't like when they do the thing with the goalkeepers kicking the ball and when the substitutes are coming on.
That, Scott. Don't get me started.
I don't like that sort of stuff at all. But anyway, we'll not touch on that. But we're round through to, is it the 5th round now? The 6th round? I can't remember what it is now.
Was that not the 5th round?
I don't know. I've lost count with the cups now. I know we're in one final, and I don't know where we are with the next one. I think we're through the 6th round.
That was a 4th round. That was a 4th round.
It was the 4th round. We are through the 5th round. I did get it right. Okay. So, we're a very good cup side, and we've seen that now over the past few years. We're now not a side who goes out in the early stages anymore. So long may it continue. We could be looking at 3 trips to Wembley this season.
We've said before, Scott, the surgery is closed. Dr. Newcastle is no longer. Surgery is closed. It's been moved to North London. Spurs have got that surgery now, so it can stay there for a little while. We don't want it back. Our surgery is closed. Our medical license has been taken away from us. It doesn't happen anymore. This is a new Newcastle United.
It's since we got Dr. King on board, isn't it? We're doing hair transplants. We're not doing medical stuff anymore.
Cynic, I get cynic back. But yeah, it's like, what it is. I think just to highlight again, we've done really well just to get through that, especially with the physicality of the game, because it was horrible. Well, it was horrible at times. So the lads have done well. Not to retaliate as well, because we could have retaliated and we could have went in dirty as well. I thought we could have had some points, but
it's a good thing Joe Linton wasn't playing, I'm telling you now, because I think he would have lost his head.
I know.
Crazy.
But we'll go through it. And it was a decent result at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely.
And now I'm regretting the fact I didn't put that bet on when we went a goal down. But it is what it is. And Newcastle United move on. Like I said, it could be another trip to Wembley as well. So obviously, like you mentioned, Scott, we've already got that one in the League Cup. Fingers crossed we can progress in the FA Cup, and just it's ours, mate. Fingers crossed. One of them.
We'll enjoy it.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks everybody who has watched this one on this lovely Sunday afternoon. Just do what we always say. Like the video, it means a lot to us as well. Become a subscriber. It costs you nothing to do that. If you do want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member as well. And you get early access to a couple of videos and extra content as well throughout the season at certain points, and access to the Telegram group too. Plenty more stuff coming on the channel. We'll have your usual match previews, further match reactions coming up after games as well. Obviously, I'll be back tomorrow evening on Monday night with the rest of the lads for the Always Smiling Faces podcast as well. It'll be a decent one, that one, because obviously we do have 2 results in the cup to talk about tomorrow night as well. So yeah, tune in. It'll be around about 7:30 tomorrow night, and get your questions in. And as always, we'll go through as many as possible during that show as well. Thanks, Scott. I'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Ta-ra.
Bye, everyone.